I'm Fernando, President of Capital Markets at Chainlink. The reason we think what we did with Swift EBS is so meaningful is that we allowed all the participants to be able to transact on-chain without needing to make any changes or improvements to their existing back office systems. Basically, now we are allowing banks to use Swift messages to initiate any type of transaction on-chain, including movement of tokens. Unlike DeFi, where I can send money or assets from my wallet to anyone else's wallet, in finance it's very important to do KYC checks, AML. You need to know who you're transacting with. So identity is going to keep playing a big role, even in a DLT-enabled world. And we, at Chainlink, as part of the Chainlink runtime environment, we offer an identity overlay. We also offer a privacy, so that the banks can keep meeting the really high standards that they have for privacy, identity, AML, and KYC. We think that domestically, we don't need to worry that much about what we call legal interoperability. Within the same jurisdiction, DLT allows you to go to market much more quickly, allows you to create bigger liquidity pools, but the moment you try to transact on-chain, that becomes an issue. If you're a Japan tax resident, if you want to send an asset to a US tax resident, you might need to put a legal wrapper around it. But in many cases, there's no clarity about what that legal wrapper should look like. So when it comes to creating global liquidity pools using DLT, yes, there's some friction that comes from legal interoperability, but we at Chainlink are working with regulators globally to create a taxonomy for each jurisdiction that we care about and make sure that we can make that translation. So this friction that comes from legal interoperability does not become an issue anymore, because we're going to be fixing that for all our customers. One of the beauties of DLT is that it brings you more mobility. Assets that it would take you days, even a week, to move from one country to another, for example, now can move cross-border instantaneously. But to make that happen, I just mentioned, maybe you need to create legal wrappers. What I'm trying to get at is that even though we bring more mobility, more utility, we will also bring much more complexity. There are many more additional data points that need to be processed. In the past, when everything was domestic and mobility was limited, you could do many of that work basically manually, just literally paperwork. But again, as we automate, we bring more mobility and more utility, we need help from AI. And I think AI is going to be playing a really big role on that front. We as Chainlink, we develop what we call ACE, Automated Compliance Engine. And that engine is going to be powered by AI for such use cases where complexity is too high to be processed by traditional means, or in some cases, human powered processes. For me, the main gap is going to be compliance. Anyone can issue an asset on-chain, but maybe before you do that, you need to create a white paper that is MiCA compliant. As I said before, when you move an asset from one wallet to another, you need to not do a number of checks. Or you just need to care about reporting to the tax authorities, to the central banks, you name it. All of that today is not there. There's no way of offering that. With ACE, I'm trying to fill a big gap in the market. So as ACE gets more adoption, that will not become an issue. But that's what I see as one of our main gaps, and that's why we're focusing on that as one of our highest priorities. The main point of CRE is that it will allow financial institutions and FMIs to grow organically. Again, it's not about disruption. We don't believe in that. We don't believe in the move fast, break things approach. The stakes here are really high. And CRE allows banks, like Swift and its member banks, to start interacting on-chain using Swift messages, using their legacy core banking systems. That's what I think is going to allow a massive adoption in the what we call TradFi space.